All right, you guys. So today I want to talk to you very briefly about an interesting topic called non-duality and as it applies to most of us, right? So you might have heard of it before. And if you haven't, basically, as it applies to us, duality is like you doing what you've always been doing, especially if you're, for example, in like a 9 to 5 or a job that you maybe thought you wanted to do because your parents told you wanted to do, right? Like the stereotype of like the doctor or the lawyer thing, right? Like because some people don't ever question if that's something that they actually want to do, or they believe it's something they want to do because their parents raised them to be that way, right? Or their parents were doctors, so they thought that they wanted to be a doctor, and maybe found out later that they didn't actually want that, right? So we're talking about like those sorts of things, or like the rat race, or like the American dream, like the white picket fence, the mortgage on the house, like all that stuff. Versus, and by the way, duality also includes getting sort of caught up in not only the rat race, but also like your assorted emotions, right? And so as this will help you the most, the difference between the two is non-duality is realizing that your default state is joy, and anything else you're allowing to happen to you, right? So it's the same as the concept of meditation, right? You can use it as a tool to stay at peace, in joy, right? Because you could allow someone to make you feel angry. You could allow something to make you feel frustrated or upset or sad. But that's all down to you, right? Like, you have to realize that you're essentially sticking to these thoughts. And one thing that could help you is to feel through them, right? Because you can choose to not think about the thing, or you can choose to feel through it and realize like, oh, it's just a feeling and it's only temporary. Because when that dissolves, you go back to calm, peace, and happy, or joy, right? So remembering that is really helpful, because then you're like, oh, so I can choose how I feel, basically, right? Like in a menu in like a video game or something, it's like angry, sad, frustrated, joy. Oh, joy sounds pretty good, right? And then the flip side in terms of like your day-to-day life, right? We're talking about like 9 to 5s, the rat race, like that kind of stuff, or maybe you're doing what society or your parents or the government told you, whatever, right? Like, non-duality is basically waking up and realizing, is this something that is good for me? Who told me that? And why did they tell me that? Or why did they tell me that this is something that I should do? Like, who is it benefiting? Is it beneficial for me and my health and my lifestyle and my future family? And what potentially have you been blinded of along the way, right? Like so you wake up and then you realize that somewhere along the lines there might have been something you always wanted to do that you would do no matter if you were getting paid for it or not. That's a really helpful way of putting it. And I know, don't get me wrong, I know that there's a difference between like the starving artist and the one that's super successful, right? So then I think it all comes down to your mindset and your abilities here. So I would say the only people who actually fail are the ones that give up or don't try, or they stop trying, right? Because most people you see in different industries, they keep going. That's when they found the gold. They like most other people, like they stop right before the gold, basically. So being more intentional with your life is a simple way of putting this, right? Like non-duality, like, do I want to do what everyone else is doing because that's what's normal? People won't judge me if I do the normal thing, but they'll like judge and criticize me, or like I'm worried about what my family, my friends, whoever thinks if I actually live my life to its max potential. That might be the best way to put this, is waking up to these things, because you get to 90 years old and your heart's always going to know that thing that you wish that you did, that thing that you wish that you tried. Being aware of what's going on in the world, what's going on in your life, what you've always really wanted. Whose life are you living, basically? Is it for someone else or someone else's life? Maybe something they wanted for you? I know that happens with a lot of parents. Right? This is what I want for you. This is what I want you to do. Versus learning to actually find out who you truly are. Not who you thought you were. Not your job, not this or that. Who you really are. And waking up to that. Because that's essentially the most abundant, like that future version of you that you've always wanted to unlock. And figure out basically what that future version acts like. Who are they? What do they do? What kind of actions do they do? And what habits do they have? So essentially you can channel that future version into now and be them now, right? Like yeah, of course certain things are going to come over time, though. Instead of blocking it, like continuing to block it, get another job, do this, right? Like, believe me, I'm with you. Like, of course you got to pay the bills, right? I'm just saying, once you wake up to this stuff, there's no real going back, because your heart is always going to know. And I hope this helps you in some way. Like something resonated, some little fire inside of you started to light up. Because that's how you're going to get where you want to go. I hope this helps in some little way. Like you took something from this video that gets you going here. And all I can say is thank you for watching. And you got this, bro.